Thank you so much, Rhonda. It is my great pleasure to do the bio of our beautiful Reverend Stacey. And I'm going to read this, but I'm also going to say she left something important out, so I'm going to mention that at the end. Reverend Stacey is a recently ordained minister through the Spiritual Awareness Center. She's also a hospice volunteer offering spiritual support to patients and their families. Stacey was trained as a licensed prayer practitioner and was blessed to support four different centers during her time with Centers for Spiritual Living. She has been practicing Reiki since 1997 and achieved master teacher status in 2001. Stacey also started her own business called Your Personal Truth and loves supporting others through her spiritual enlightenment sessions. She's also the co writer of a very beautiful book of prayers. So that's what she didn't mention. I'm mentioning it. Welcome, Stacey. So happy to have you back with us.
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it. And thank you for mentioning about the prayer book. And it's so good to see all of you here. So good to be with all of you. And my heart is just feeling so great being in community with all of you. And today's talk topic, if you didn't already see it, is called Soaring in Love. And my heart is soaring in love right now. um, Seeing all of you here from all different aspects of my life, Rockland CSL is always in my heart. It will always be in my heart as the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living and Berks County CSL, where I got my start in my spiritual journey. And all the connections that I've had with people along the way are always in my heart. And we show up for each other, right? We soar together and for ourselves and for each other in kindness and respect. And that's what soaring in love is all about to me, is connection. But sometimes, even though we are connected and we have a lot of different connections in our life, sometimes we feel that we're out here floating on this planet in space, doing our lives all alone. But of course, we're never alone. And the connections that we have made with people never, ever go away. Even if we don't see those people anymore or if they have crossed over, the connections remain. My Reiki teacher always said that no circle that we sit in or connection that we make is ever broken. It's always there. It's in consciousness, it's in the ethers, it's somewhere, it never disappears. It still exists, soaring in love. And these connections are never, ever, ever broken. But sometimes we do feel that we are all alone, especially when we're going through difficult stuff. Someone can be standing right next to you, and as you're going through the difficult stuff, it feels like you're going through it alone because the other person or people that you were with are not really experiencing what you're experiencing. They might be right next to you, but they can't exactly feel what you're feeling. But the support is there. Support from people all around us is actually divine support. It's God showing up as the people in our lives. And as we slow down, we listen to one another, we connect with one another, are present for one another, it becomes a way of being, allowing love to soar into our interactions as we make ourselves available to one another. It's also important to have compassion for ourselves and ask for support when needed. And this reinforces the idea that love is there and that we aren't alone. God or love is with us and in us, so it really is impossible to be separate from it, from life or love. It's who we are and where we came from. And because of that, simply because we exist and where we came from, we are loved. And there's nothing that we have to do to earn that love. And as we embody that truth more and more, we can trust in the divine within and have respect for ourselves and respect for others we are in relationship with. And most importantly, to trust and have faith in the divine. Even as we're going through difficult times in our lives, we know we can make it through, knowing that God is within us all the time. I've been listening to a lot of Jesus Christ Superstar songs lately, if anybody's familiar with that musical. I love it. Um, My son was at our house a few weeks ago and he was singing some of the songs and my husband was playing the piano and it was wonderful. And then I heard that I don't know if you're familiar with the actors and singers Adam Lambert and Cynthia Erivo, but they were recently in a production of Jesus Christ Superstar, and Cynthia Erivo actually played the part of Jesus. So as I was contemplating the topic for the talk this week, I was thinking about Jesus and what he went through. And the song that kept coming through my head from that musical was Hang On, Lord, we're going to fight for you. Hang on, Lord, we're going to fight for you. But ultimately, Jesus relied on and surrendered to the Father within, as he said. He still went through difficult, painful times, but his faith and his surrendering to love got him through, and that brought him to new heights. He did wonderful things when he was in human form. He did wonderful things when he crossed over. And he continues to do wonderful things because the spirit part of us, the energy of who we are, never dies. Because energy doesn't die. That's science. But growth can be painful sometimes. And I had a spiritual growth spurt this week, and it was really painful. I woke up a couple of days ago with excruciating cramps in my right thigh. If anybody's ever had a Charlie horse, a cramp in their thigh, you know how painful that is. And a couple of days later, I got the message that the cramps were growing pains. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. What an aha moment that was. After becoming an ordained interfaith minister last September, I have felt kind of stagnant. Lots of ideas coming through, but no movement, bringing them into fruition. And I couldn't understand why. But when I had the leg cramps, it was so painful. I was screaming. My husband's telling me, shh, the neighbors are going to call the police. But it was painful. And the next day, I was tired. I was exhausted because it's exhausting to go through that. And the day after that, when I got the message about it being growing pains, I realized that when I was screaming, it was almost like a caterpillar, like breaking through the chrysalis, and it opened something in me. And then spiritual inspiration started to flow. And it felt really good to be in that flow again. And when this happens, then something new is created, like the butterfly, right? And then that's what soaring in love is all about, is soaring to new heights, creating something new and expressing through the eyes of love. Growing is hard sometimes and painful, but the outcome is so worth it. And sometimes we need to kick and scream first, and that's okay. Sometimes it's necessary. Another insight that I had this week is that to soar in love, we must first ground in love. That came to me when I was meditating on the talk topic this week. And at first I thought, wow, that kind of sounds contradictory, right? That we're soaring in love. I kind of think of that as, being connected to the all that is, to the heavens, to above, all around. And then grounding, I figured going down into the earth, it kind of sounds contradictory to me. But Thich Nhat Hanh, who was an author, a teacher, and a Buddhist monk, he said, true love reminds us that it is rooted in compassion, kindness, and willingness to share both joys and challenges. By being present and fully engaged, we transform love from an ideal into a lived reality, allowing us to soar beyond limitations and experience greater depth and fulfillment. So when we meditate with the intention to tune into that love within us, or the essence of who we are, our energy, if you've ever tried to do that, I encourage you to do that. Just close your eyes and just have the intention to connect to your energy. And it's amazing what comes up sometimes. You might see colors, you might hear words, you might have a feeling. Just try to do it without any expectations and see what comes up. It's really amazing. And then after you tune into that and feel that love of who you are, ground into that love, feel rooted in that love. And then know deep within inside you that you are already good because you came from love. So you are already good. And then act from that place of love, that place that's already good. and then our lives will change. And then when we're in crisis, it'll be an automatic leaning into that place within. We won't even have to think about it. A very good friend of mine and I were discussing what soaring in love means to each of us. And she described it as getting a 40,000-foot view. And this is different than the longer view. It's the higher view, getting out of the judgments and the details. And I was thinking about it after we had this conversation. Like, can you imagine how helpful that would be if we all took the 40,000-foot view as we're living in these really interesting times and seeing the world as God sees the world? Imagine what could change. I'm going to give it a try. Maybe you want to do that too. And as we're taking the higher view, we're also grounded in the love of who we are and where we came from, and which is the essence of the vibration of love, the most powerful force in the universe. That's also within us. Neil Donald Walsh says, and he wrote the book series Conversations with God, and he says, you are not the sum total of the divine. The sum total of the divine is one thing, and you are another. Yet you are made up of the same thing. And God calls that thing pure love. And it's how God talks to us through that love, through our intuition. And we all have the same qualifications to talk with God or love simply because we exist. We're not loved because of what we do but because of who we are. It's as simple and profound as that. I got that message a really long time ago when I was asked to lead a Reiki support circle that my Reiki teacher led. And it was around Valentine's Day, and I was meditating, like, what am I going to share with everybody tonight? And this message came through that there's nothing that we have to do, that we are loved simply because of who we are, simply because we exist. And we are being guided all the time by our intuition or our soul. Recently, I heard Anita Morjani, and she wrote the book called Dying to Be Me. She had a very profound near-death experience, and her book is fabulous. And you might have seen her on Facebook, or she does a lot of different events, but her story is phenomenal. Um, so she had a near-death experience, and she pulled through it, and she's doing great. And she wrote a few books, and Dying to Be Me was her first book. And she said, which I thought this was interesting, at the end of life, we will wonder if what we did was valuable to us. So that's a good question for us to ask ourselves, right? Like, is what I'm doing today valuable to me? Because we never know when our time is up. We all have limited time here. And we want to do what is valuable to us because what's valuable to us is probably valuable to somebody else too. And then I heard a quote, I think Reverend Melissa put this on the Facebook post, that Dumbo said, don't just fly, soar. And I thought about that. And I thought, well, existing is fine, right? Like existing is good. But soaring is next level. And when we soar in something that we're excited about and that is valuable to us, it gives us the passion and the zest for life and a great sense of purpose. And soaring looks different for everyone. It depends on who you are, what your gifts are, what your interests are, what's important and valuable to you. So do what makes you soar, and then we all get to benefit, including, and most importantly, you. So I'd like to close with a beautiful insight that someone I know who does powerful work in supporting people to live authentically. She shared on Instagram. Her name is Tara Coughlin. And what she shared is this. In prayer this morning, I poured out all my fears, worries, troubles, self-doubt, not enoughness to God. And God was there to meet me. There was no fixing or anything to do differently, just eternal love. Oh, we do like to overcomplicate things so often. God is within your heart, the one who loves you always and eternally. We simply must allow and continue to let ourselves to be loved, held, and provided for. And now let's anchor that in with a prayer. So this is what I know, is that there's only one. And I call that one God. But it goes by so many different names, yet it's unnameable. It is the essence of the universe. It is love. It is spirit. It is the vibration of life itself. It is what causes us to be animated. It is what causes us to be alive. It is the creative force of the universe. But it's unnameable because it's so magnificent. And it doesn't ask to be named. It doesn't ask to be studied. It doesn't even ask to be believed in. It just is. And I know that I'm part of this sacred something. I'm part of this vibration of the universe, this amazing creative energy that created me and created each one of you and created everything out of itself, out of love, out of the love that it has for itself, so that it could experience itself through each one of us and through everything that it created. And so I know that if I was created from this one, then everything is created from this one. And so that makes us all one. And so if the one is like the ocean, then I am like the wave. And I know that sometimes the wave is high and tall and soars really high. And sometimes the wave is a little bit smaller. And sometimes there are no waves at all. And it's just calm and peaceful. But yet, no matter if the wave is small, medium size, or there are no waves, it's always part of the one. It's always part of the ocean, and it never changes. Even if the size of the wave changes, the essence of what the water is, of what the wave is, never changes. It's always the same. It always has the essence of the ocean in it. It is the essence of the ocean. And so I know that I can never be separate from it. I know that this essence, this vibration, this amazing stuff that this life is, that this ocean is always flowing through me and in me. And it's always inviting me. And it is truly an invitation because we have free will. And so it's always inviting me to flow with it. And that's all it's asking us to do. It's all it's asking me to do is to flow with it. I don't have to. I could get in a boat and I can decide to go upstream, even though it's a little bit hard. I can decide to do that. I can decide to be in the boat and go against the waves. The ocean's going to let me do that if I want to. But the invitation is always there. The invitation is always there to flow with it. And I know in my own life that when I flow with it, life is good, life is easier, life is better. Even if I'm going through difficult times, it's easier. But I know I have the choice. I can choose of how I want to be, how I want to show up as the wave within the ocean. Whether I want to be soaring and doing what's really valuable to me and sharing that with the world, or whether I want to be peaceful and calm and just hanging out in the essence of the glory of that amazing energy, the peacefulness of it, the magnificence of it. And so I'm so grateful to know this. I'm so grateful to have this realization. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to be one with the one and to know that I'm one with the one. I'm so grateful to know that this is not only true for me, but it's true for each one. And so I release this now into the law of life, knowing that it is so, knowing that I have this wonderful supportive power behind me, within me, and it is me, and it is true for everyone. And so it is. Amen.